That's right, Gotti. The third in Missouri this year, the 100th execution in the state since executions were reinstated back in 1989. 5, by the way, in this week alone across the country. We're talking about Missouri, in which Mr. Williams was executed just a couple of hours ago by lethal injection. Alabama as well, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Texas. The timing of it all, right? You ask, why are all 5 of these executions happening in this week alone, is really just happenstance in the decision-making process by some of these kind of state Supreme Courts. I will say, though, the argument that was being made by Mr. Williams' attorneys to the Supreme Court to, in fact, stay this execution was waiting to a decision till a decision was made by a...
Innocent lives matter. Wow, that's so fucking sick.
Wasn't he doing like 50 years for like robbery that he was convicted of?
He killed a white reporter. She was a reporter. He killed her in a burglary. We're going to get into all that.
Okay. Similar case as they saw it that was going to be argued in front of the U.S. Supreme Court on October 9th. A statement that was made by the Innocence Project saying this, and I quote, "This closely resembles that of Richard Glossip, who remains on death row in Oklahoma because the state court similarly refused to accept the state's confession of error." If you remember, just yesterday, the state Supreme Court in Missouri essentially did not accept the prosecuting office's admission of possible error in Mr. Williams' case, hence why we are here today. Mr. Williams losing his life to execution by lethal injection just a couple of hours ago amidst a huge week of executions happening, Gotti, across this country.
Thanks for watching.
So they're going to try to make this an issue.
Tonight, a Missouri man has been executed by the state, but a deeply unsettling question remains.
Bitch, he would have fucking robbed you and raped you too, you dumb whore.
Was Marcellus Williams innocent? He was accused of killing Felicia Gale in 1998, but a re-examination of evidence raised questions about whether he actually did it.
Oh, raised questions. You peeped the raised questions. They use these terms that, like, make you say, oh wow, raised. Well, listen. Anything could raise questions. Like, hey, like what? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's such a deceptive term.
Yeah, that shit can mean anything. Raise what kind of questions?
But they know when they use that type of like esoteric wording, they know when a Sun man hears that, they think, oh no, he's innocent. Yeah. Like the Sun man is like a 5-year-old, right? So like they can't really understand it. It's like a bat symbol for the sun type of thing.
They don't even just say he's innocent. They say, oh man, this gotta be racist. And they killed him because he killed a white woman. That's what it was. They're gonna jump all the way to that end of the spectrum.
They imply like a motherfucker because they know like your average Sun man will do the rest of the legwork for them.
Yep.
You raised questions. This is crazy work right here.
After years of investigations and hearings, Missouri Governor Mike Parson.
Right, which shows that it's not racism because there's been years of investigations and hearings for this dude.
By white people.
Yeah, who obviously killed this woman. And he's gotten years of investigations and hearings. So I know you're not about to tell us that the system's racist, right?
And stepped in this year and ordered the execution to move forward. Now that was despite prosecutors.
So it's the governor's fault. It's the governor's fault that a man who was put on death row in fucking 90. It's the governor's fault that he's the governor when the execution is supposed to happen. So he's the bad guy.
I think Mark in the back. Not sure.
Basically, if you're currently at the head when shit goes bad for a Sun man, it's your fault, essentially. That's basically what's being said.
Prosecutors, Williams's family, and even the family of Gale pleading to spare Williams.
This is the problem too. The white woman's family is on board with trying to get him off too now, and that's very common because white people
and it's compelling to like a Sun man because when you hear that, then you can kind of understand why people start feeling the way they do about this when even the own person's family is like, nah, let this innocent son man out. So you kind of can't blame them.
I
No
mean,
doubt.
yo, that's fucking weird though. Like, what?
Like obviously over here at Awk Nation, we know this is a bunch of bullshit, but that's because we're Awk Nation.
He a
Why?
big old son man too. He a big
That's-
old. He a
that's-
big one.
That's retarded though. Why are they doing that?
Because gliders, they're gliders. It's DNA.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time.
Same reason we're letting in like 100 zillion Haitians. The same bullshit. There's no.
Jesus Christ.
It's with
Imagine.
did you hear the story I did where the guy killed the woman's mom, and when he was in prison, the daughter started going to prison and visiting him and befriending him and forgave him, and then when he got out after like 25 years,
Oh God.
he came live with the white woman and they
Wait,
killed her.
what? Oh
Yeah,
shit.
You don't remember that story?
No.
Press one if you remember that story.
What the fuck?
We'll have to do that again. Yeah, we'll have to do that. I think it was down south somewhere. I think it might have been Florida.
Wow.
Somebody give me the name on that. What that lady's name is so I can pull it up. I forgot her
Holy
name.
shit.
But yeah, definitely, yes. She
that's-
walked down that dude's sentence with him, was there visiting him, and
Did she
worked
hate her
him out.
mom? Like,
No, she just glided her.
no, that shit don't make sense though. No, that's just
Life.
stupid.
She
That-
loved her mom. She loved her mom with every. She loved her mom to pieces.
Nah,
man.
I don't get that.
And tonight, a last-ditch appeal to the Supreme Court was rejected with a 6-3 vote, falling along ideological
Okay,
lines.
Martha McKay. Martha McKay, is that her name? Somebody put it in there. Martha McKay. We may have to do that later on, man.
But Ak,
Oh
Ak,
yeah, go ahead.
Ak, is it true though that for this guy, he was like already in prison for like some sort of a robbery, and he was going to serve like a 50-year sentence, and then he got put on trial for this murder? Is that true or not? Because that's what I'm reading.
Oh no, do tell, man. Do tell.
I
my
believe
God,
so. I believe this dude was like literally in prison for the rest of his life. And like Nick Tao said, he's basically just afraid of dying. So we got to go through all this bullshit. That's my understanding.
So he was. So the DNA. So wow, and none of that's going to be told to the public, man.
No, of course not.
Dang.
But I believe he's just like your standard, criminal son man with a rap sheet, and now we're, doing the whole dance.
He throwing the Hail Mary.
Yeah, we'll do Martha McKay later, or if not later, we'll get to her tomorrow. Martha McKay, yeah, that's her name. Yeah, she had no admixture. She was a whole glide.
A devout practicing Muslim, Williams' last words were,
A devout practicing Muslim, as if that. But if he was a Christian, you couldn't. We are fucked up as a country, man. That's supposed to make him more what do you call it?
Moral, like morally upright.
Yeah, it's supposed to make you feel more sorry for him because he was a
Yeah,
different
man, in Philly,
6-3
it's
vote.
all Muslims killing Muslims.
and they don't understand that dudes become Muslim in prison for protection, man.
Yeah, that's a major thing.
falling along ideological lines. A devout practicing Muslim, Williams' last words were, all praise be to Allah in every situation. The man's last meal, chicken wings and tater tots.
I could have told you that.
And at 7:01 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, Marcellus Williams was given the lethal injection of the sedative pentobarbital, and 9 minutes later, he was pronounced dead.
Look at her putting her head down. She acting like the world lost something great.
Yo, you hear her tone? The world.
Look at her. She's sitting there acting as if like this was a world leader died, like the fucking president of fucking such country died or some shit.
And 9 minutes later, he was pronounced dead.
Oh my God.
At one point, he appeared to wiggle his feet, which were underneath a white sheet that's pulled up to his neck, and moved his head slightly. Then I could see his chest heaved about a half dozen times. I didn't see any movement after that.
Oh my God. Do you see her? Yo, she starts crying like I'm really done with niggas forever, dog.
Well,
I'm
you
really done.
might as well say you're done because she looked like she about to bust a tear.
Yeah,
And
they
yo-
didn't cover the Birmingham mass shooting or the Chicago mass shooting from just over the weekend. They didn't touch it at CNN. I'm talking about nothing.
That shit basically didn't happen.
The death penalty, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, she about to cry. Yes, she's about to.
Neither family spoke after the execution, but many people in the public did. Nearly 100 people protesting
White people.
outside of the correctional facility even today. But the
And this is the
Yo, what
case.
the fuck?
Every time somebody gets executed, these motherfuckers, these are paid protesters. These people are there every time. Like, it don't matter who get executed, they're there. Now they may have a different what do you call it, talking points now, and different slogans because it's a black dude and it's election season. But anybody get executed, these people are anti-death penalty, so they travel to the place where the person is about to get executed.
governor, through a spokesperson, well, they defended the execution.
No juror nor judge has ever found Williams' innocence claim to be credible. 2 decades of judicial proceedings and more than 15 judicial hearings upheld his guilty conviction.
15 basically
Jeez.
appeals. Think about how much money that cost for only for gliders to be deemed racist for finally executing him. Think about that. He's outlived. So when did this happen? 25 years ago?
Yeah, he's like 55, I think.
So if her parents, let's say her parents were older, he may have outlived her parents.
Thus, the order of execution has been carried out.
With me now, St. Louis prosecuting attorney Wesley Bell, who is also
This is your prosecutor in one of the most violent, black, barbarous, Haiti-esque shitholes in America. And this is the prosecutor. Let's see what he sounds like.
running for Congress.
The prosecutor.
Wesley Bell, you and I have spoken in the past when there was a chance that they would stay the execution, a fancy way of saying to continue for time to investigate the possibility that he was in fact innocent. What is your reaction tonight knowing that that did not happen and he is now dead?
Justice, the interests of justice were not served. And as a prosecutor, as you know, as a former prosecutor, our job is not to get convictions, it's not to collect stats, it's to bring justice. And for us, for the folks that in my office, Lathrop GPM, Matthew Jacoby, Elena McMullen, Teresa Hurler,
Oh my God.
my office, the Conviction Incident Review Unit led by Jessica Hathaway. We're talking about folks who invested blood, sweat, and now tears to spare his life because it was the right thing to do. If there's the shadow of a doubt with respect to innocence or the integrity of a conviction, at the very least, that individual should not be executed. And it is, to say disappointing would be an understatement. There were several opportunities on the timeline, if you will. Obviously, this case predated me
Right.
originally. And so there's, 20 plus years ago, but throughout the appellate process, and now once we have had an opportunity, there have been opportunities for decisions to be made that should have resulted in Mr. Williams' life being spared, and the system failed him. It failed all of us.
You have to wonder why there was such a vested interest in the speed of this after this was a murder from decades ago at this.
She said, why was there a vested interest in the speed of this after it being a murder from decades ago?
Only a black person could say that with a straight face.
Yo, niggas are fucking dumb.
Oh, this is some sick shit, man.
Like, we have to hold niggas to damn near retarded standards, man. Because that's some retarded ass shit to even think about uttering out your mouth.
You have to wonder why there was such a vested interest in the speed of this after this was a murder from decades ago at this point in time. Now that this was underway, why do you think there was the haste to do so? Given your office said no, the victims' families said no, he was not asking to be released. He wanted time to investigate further and was even willing to plead guilty to lesser charges, which I might add, there were people who said, well, hold on, that must mean that he's probably guilty. What's your response to that?
What he was willing to agree to was called an Alford plea, as you know, which he is not pleading guilty to the charges. He's acknowledging that there's enough evidence.
But he's already been found guilty. So how could there be an Alford plea if he's on death row? And after 15 appeals, he's still on death row. An Alford plea is something you do like in the first trial. Like you before the first trial, you say, all right, Alford plea. And the DA says either, yeah, I'll give it to you, or nah, we got enough evidence, we're going to take you to trial.
Yeah, in other words, he's trying to go backwards in time now. After he thought he would get away with it, and then he got fucked, and now he's trying to go backwards in time.
And now he's trying to guilt the whoever into believing that, oh man, I just, if I could just get another chance,
Yeah.
Like, no, nigga.
Well, I mean, if this is what your prosecutor looks like, I mean, you can't really blame him for trying to, finagle this, right?
Yeah, Sons statistically have an extreme pro-black bias in the legal system.
Remember the previous one, Kim Gardner, that black woman, Kim Gardner? She was way woker than this guy. We're lucky that she's not still the prosecutor in St. Louis.
Evidence to convict him, but that was really for us to be able to buy time to be able to investigate his claims of innocence, because
buy time. It's been 25 years and 15 appeals, and they're talking about buying time. And this is your prosecutor. He's supposed to keep you safe.
And usually, me and we can agree that some lawyers are good. This one is ooh.
This is a prosecutor, man. This is your prosecutor. This isn't a defense attorney. This is the prosecutor.
The execution date was set. If the execution date was stayed or just pushed back a few months to give us more time to investigate.
It's been pushed back 25 years, asshole.
Investigate this matter, we may have been able to determine whether or not he was in fact innocent or not. But as you know, it's not just about innocence. It's also about the integrity of the conviction.
Right.
And there are serious, legitimate concerns about this conviction. And at the very least, he shouldn't be executed. That's what we're asking. This was not a dichotomy between execution or release. This was execution or life in prison without the possibility of parole. And then his team and him, and they would have time to vet his claims of innocence. But now we're looking at a fact.
They had 25 years. I think some people don't understand how long 25 years. Okay, let's play the game. 25 years ago is 1999. Okay, I was in college down in Richmond, Virginia. I didn't know shit from Shiloh. I didn't know my ass from my head. I was 170 pounds. I was 5%er. I was a 5%er then. I was Nation of God's. I didn't know my head from my ass. That's 25 years is a long fucking time, man.
Family who had to
Quarter of a
relive this
century.
again. Felicia Gale's family had to relive this all over again. And as the prosecutor, I can't look them in the eye and say the right person was punished because we don't know.
That's the scariest aspect of this, and also very difficult to maintain faith in a system that prosecutors, you and I know.
Wow.
They
It's
always
to maintain
trying.
faith. This nigga finally got executed after 25 years. Makes it difficult to make. Listen, if I'm a glider, gliders don't really understand. Yeah, that you're supposed to be offended by that if you're a glider.
Yeah. Gliders, y'all
Offended by that.
too tolerant of these niggas trying to undermine y'all whole shit when it's completely fair to niggas and overly fair to niggas.
Yo, what if this was a what they call them things in the Middle East, a theocratic
Theocracy.
Yeah, and you say
Sharia law.
This undermines my faith in the system.
That could get you killed too. Like, quite honestly, you did that in Saudi Arabia, like that would nah.
How impactful and how much we can control certain aspects of it, and to know that you were fighting to understand the integrity of a conviction, and that's done.
We have to, our job, we have to recommend folks go to jail sometime. That's part of our job. But it's also part of our job.
Sometimes you're supposed to be happy about that. You're supposed to be gleeful. He sounds like unfortunately, we have to send people. You're the prosecutor.
Yeah, he's supposed to advocate for us, the citizen, to keep us safe. Like, that's his fucking job.
Fortunately, we have to, sometimes we have to actually lock criminals up. Damn. Wish it wasn't like this. My heart bleeds every time. Wish these thugs could be out on the prowl, causing havoc and sowing dissent into these relatively safe communities. But sometimes you just gotta put them in jail.
I think they kind of are low key okay with this though, like, because I've yet to hear anything about some evidence pointed the killer in the direction of some other guy. Like, there's no alternative being presented to us here. So
yeah, but on social media, they're acting as if they're trying to make him the next George Floyd.
Like, remember Adnan Syed? Remember that case? Adnan Syed?
Nah, I don't remember him.
The Innocence. Oh wow. Okay. Well, the Innocence Project tried to.
Oh, you talking the one from Baltimore? The one from
the guy who killed the Korean chick.
Yeah, Baltimore. Yeah.
Yeah. Because remember in that case, they were talking all about how it could have easily been someone else, and it was this other accomplice, and blah blah blah. But we don't have that here.
Right, but even in that case, that was bullshit. I think he got off because of that Serial documentary. Somebody made a documentary about him, and it went viral. Serial,
something like that. Yeah.
So but this right here, black folk just learned this dude's name 2 days ago.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Get it right, even if that means 20 years later. And so, even though this case predated me, it was our offices still had an obligation to do everything that we could to make certain that justice was served, and we fought, it's tough. It's tough.
It is very emotional to think about what happened at 7 p.m. tonight. Wesley Bell, thank you so much.
This news is funded by viewers like you. Please support our work at democracynow.org/give. This is Democracy Now! I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Unless the U.S. Supreme Court...
You're muted, I think.
Salute to Rick Hempstead. He said, $5 challenge. Let's all show some love. They basically said, screw you, Rick. Salute to D from Boston. He said, peace out, everyone on the panel and the chat, man. Shout out to all you guys, man. Hit the like button, man. Make sure you smash that like button. Also, salute to my man Aster J, man. He says, while it's loading, salute to Deluxe 247, aka Cal Ripken, aka the real MVP, coming through once again.
Intervenes, the state of Missouri will kill Marcellus Williams at 6 p.m. Central Time today. On Monday, Republican Governor Mike Parson turned down Williams' bid for clemency, followed a short time later by the Missouri Supreme Court rejecting his latest legal challenge. Williams is African-American. He was convicted in 2001 of killing a former St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporter, Leisha Gale, who's white, during a robbery. He was convicted by...
Wow, who's white? So they're already setting the stage that, it's only because she's white.
11 white jurors and 1 black juror after the prosecution.
11 black jurors found this nigga guilty?
No, 11 white jurors.
The U.S. Supreme Court intervened.
Who's this woman?
democracynow.org/give. This is Democracy Now! I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.
Amy Goodman. Probably Juice Crew, too.
She kind of looked like Jared Taylor.
That's Juice Crew. That's a Juice Crew last name.
Yeah, Amy Goodman. Yeah, she's probably Juice Crew.
Marcellus Williams at 6 p.m.
When they talk, the way they sow division and the way they, over the years, being on this channel and listening to, being alerted to their ways, don't get me wrong. I give them credit for what they're good at. I don't loathe them the way Fisherman does and the people like that. But trust me, I've grown to hear the diabolical way they sow dissension and plant seeds of, discontent when in their talk. It's just in how natural it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the hand rubbing meme, basically.
It's second nature. You know what I'm saying?
Central Time today. On Monday, Republican Governor Mike Parson turned down Williams' bid for clemency, followed a short time later by the Missouri Supreme Court rejecting his latest legal challenge. Williams is African-American. He was convicted in 2001 of killing a former St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporter, Leisha Gale, who's white, during a robbery. He was convicted by 11 white jurors and 1 black juror after the prosecution was allowed to preemptively strike out 6 other prospective black jurors. Williams always maintained his innocence. The jurors, the prosecutor, and the murder victim's family all oppose Williams' execution. For more, we're joined in Kansas City, Missouri, by Tricia Rojo Bushnell, Marcellus Williams' attorney, executive director of the Midwest Innocence Project. Welcome to Democracy Now! We only have a few minutes, but it's possible that Marcellus Williams only has a few hours. Can you explain what you are calling for and what this case at the last minute is all about?
And both of them are pro-abortion up until birth. I guarantee you. They have no problem killing 1,000 babies a day, thousands of babies a day. But they're fucking losing their head. Yeah, they're losing their head over this fucking son man psychopath.
About.
Yes, at this time, we're asking for what Marcellus Williams has been asking for 23 years, which is for
Rojo Bushnell.
For a court to take a full and accurate review of the proceedings before it. Right now, for the first time ever, a few weeks ago, the prosecutor had to take the stand and testify under oath about his strikes that he used during the jury selection process. And at that hearing, he testified that he, at least in part, struck a juror based on his race. Yet right now, we have yet to have a court who will fully examine it.
Okay, we'll give you that. But did the guy kill the woman? You know what I'm saying? Like they getting us lost on this book. Fine. Let's just say your little racial bullshit. Did
Like,
the guy
we've yet
kill
to
the
hear
woman?
Even the
You know what I'm saying?
prosecutor said that, like, they weren't claiming he was innocent. Even the
Right.
fucking prosecutor said that. So, like, we've yet to see anyone here come out and be like, this guy is innocent. We just need
He
20
didn't
more
kill-
years to find out if he is or not.
Yeah, he didn't kill the chick, but this is crazy, man. Let me see the story of her, like, because she's a woman and she deserves some what do you call it? She deserves some grace. She deserves some dignity, man. The fact that no one is talking about her or the story is absolutely sick and disgusting. Let's see. Felicia Gale, man.
Welcome to the Real Crime Diary Daily Dose of Crime. I'm your host, MHB. Today, we're unraveling a haunting tale of murder, legal battles, and controversial justice. The case of Felicia Gale and the man accused and convicted of her murder, Marcellus Williams. On August 11th, 1998, Felicia Gale, a former St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporter, was brutally murdered in her own home in the University City suburb of St. Louis, Missouri. Gale was stabbed between 10 and 43 times with a butcher knife taken from her kitchen.
Between 10 and 43 times. How do you not know whether it was 10 or 43 times? Wow. Maybe when the butcher knife goes in, maybe you had to fight to pull it out each time. I don't know. But that's crazy.
The scene was nothing short of a bloodbath, and the crime shook the community to its core. Felicia Gale was not only a journalist, but a philanthropist and volunteer. She lived with her husband.
What do you think she volunteered? Who do you think she was philanthropized?
Help his sons.
She probably was teaching niggas in 5th grade how to multiply single digit numbers
with the ER.
Yeah, 1-800 Bushman.
Yeah, she was definitely in St. Louis. She was definitely helping son turds.
Probably teaching high school niggas how to do fractions.
Was not only a journalist, but a philanthropist and volunteer. She lived with her husband, Dr. Daniel Pikus, in their secure, gated community. That security, however, wasn't enough to prevent the tragedy that would change their lives forever.
Oh, so she was smart. She lived far away from sons as possible.
The initial investigation yielded an abundance of forensic evidence, including fingerprints, footprints, hair, and DNA traces on the knife.
So abundance of evidence. They had an abundance of evidence.
Investigation yielded an abundance of forensic evidence, including fingerprints, footprints, hair, and DNA traces on the knife. Despite this, it wasn't until a reward was offered that two informants, Henry Cole and Lara Asaro, implicated.
There you go. It wasn't the racist white system, but I always tell y'all, somebody that he knew snitched on him, or somebody who was close to the crime snitched on him. They always try to act like, oh, it's the white criminal justice system. Nah, man, it's your co-defendant, motherfucker. It's just like with Young Dolph case. It's just like with Young Thug. Why is Young Thug sitting in that courtroom? Because of YSL Woody.
But see, here's the thing, though. What's going to happen? What inevitably happens is their co-defendants will say, or their buddies who are black, are always caught up in the legal system themselves. So there's always like a conflict of interest, and then they're going to blame the white system on that because, you know, if his friends are saying he's guilty, they're going to be like, oh, well, that friend was in prison at the time, and, you know, they wanted to get out of prison by setting him up and all this bullshit. So that's probably what I'll say.
I'll give you that. But here's the thing. Of every fucking person in St. Louis, somebody came and said you did it, and then, you know what I'm saying? Like, of everybody, that would be the same thing about all of us. There's a murder in our town, and of everybody in the fucking town, we get fucking some informants saying that we did it.
And I think like some of her possessions were found in his car, some shit like that.
Let's move along. Let's see, because let's see if the testimony of the informants matches with the evidence.
Did Marcellus Williams. Both informants had prior convictions and stood to gain from their testimonies. Cole claimed he heard Williams confess while they were in jail together, and Asaro, Williams' former girlfriend, said she found evidence in Williams' car. Their accounts played a crucial role in his conviction, despite their inconsistencies and the informant's questionable credibility. In 2001, Williams was convicted of Gale's murder by a predominantly white jury and sentenced to death. He has always maintained his innocence. Over the years, appeals have highlighted significant issues with the case, including DNA evidence from the knife that did not match Williams, but rather revealed an unknown male profile. Despite this,
well, it has a wooden handle. Anyone who's ever touched that is going to have, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, think about it. Like, he got it from her home. Like, that DNA, that knife was from her kitchen. So I'm sure someone else had touched that knife before. They act like he just bought it from the store and broke it out of the fucking plastic and shit.
No, of course not. Yeah, nothing here like proves he's innocent. Like, there's not really much going on here.
Yeah, these are the questions that are being raised. Raises questions.
Unknown male profile. Despite this, the Missouri Supreme Court did not halt the execution. In 2017, just hours before he was set to be executed, then Governor Eric Greitens issued a stay of execution.
A white man already gave him a stay of execution in 2017. Does that white man get a statue? If this white governor's racist and we got to fucking get rid of him for not giving this black dude a stay of execution, are we going to throw a parade for the white governor who did, or just nothing? Because that white governor gave him what? 7 more years of life.
Eric Greitens issued a stay of execution, initiating a board of inquiry to examine the new DNA evidence. The board's findings indicated that Williams was not the source of the DNA found on the murder weapon. Fast forward to 2023, Governor Mike Parson dissolved the board without its final report and lifted the stay, paving the way for a new execution date. Prosecuting attorney Wesley Bell filed a motion to vacate Williams's conviction, citing the new DNA evidence and potential bias during the original trial. However, Attorney General Andrew Bailey pushed back, and the Missouri Supreme Court set September 24, 2024 as the execution date. On August 21, 2024, Williams accepted.
That son man was 6'6", almost 6'7". Big old joker. Like almost
chose the wrong profession.
But hard to like, you know, mistake. Like, it's not like when you 6'7", it's like you either did it or you didn't. like you know what I'm saying? Like somebody saw the shit, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm 6'3" and people always like, you tall. And like when I'm around 6'7" dudes, I feel small. And it's like
you are small,
right.
Like 4 or 5 inches. That's a big difference.
Yeah, and like when you see a 6'7" dude in public, yeah, who did it? I don't know, but it was totally I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
An Alford plea offered by the prosecution to commute his death sentence to life imprisonment without parole. This move, though controversial, highlights the immense pressure and complexity surrounding this case. The Missouri Supreme Court blocked the plea deal, keeping the execution on track while scheduling a hearing to reconsider Williams's innocence. Marcellus Williams's impending execution raises crucial questions about the judicial system, the handling of forensic evidence, and the reliability of incentivized witness testimonies. These issues echo in the broader context of racial disparities in capital punishment, evidenced by Williams, a black man, receiving a death sentence for the murder of a white woman by an almost all-white jury. As of now, the fight...
So, all white juries can't give the death penalty if the suspect's black. Is that just what it is?
Basically, yeah.
They could just give you like a life sentence.
Yo, they get to say, if you're black, you get to say, because this white person did anything, I get to be able to add some racial implications to it in some weird way. Like you could just throw that shit in there. It doesn't matter if it makes sense or not. It's just some weird esoteric ass.
Yeah, or anything. The person's white, they're white. So yeah, and it's got to do with criminal justice. So they're inherently like, and all we see is a bunch of white people outside the court building trying to save his life. The Innocence Project, a bunch of white and Jew school people trying to save his life. That's all we see. Nigga, it ain't a nigga in sight. Crump ain't nowhere. The fucking Malik Shabazz, they ain't nowhere. It's just a bunch of white people.
Justice continues as lawyers and supporters rally to halt the execution.
Let me see if I can find a better story, more evidence about what happened to this girl, man.
I don't. At this point, why don't they just say only black people can handle black like criminal investigations and judicial processes?
You think they would have never gave him that death penalty? Like they probably would have if it was an all black jury.
Oh, Bronx juries. Bronx juries. Because in the Bronx back in the day, you couldn't get you couldn't get a conviction, even a conviction on a criminal. The jury had black people on it. So they started that term called Bronx juries.
But if they're just gonna say, the people that convicted him.
My other channel here on YouTube called.
So that means we have to add some extra scrutiny to it. Like at that point, just say you just want to have some sort of Jim Crow laws for the legal system.
I mean, we should just have separate countries then. That's where ultimately I think like if we can't have juries that are homogenous of any color just because they're one color, then you're basically saying multiracial societies are, they shouldn't exist.
Yeah, it's basically saying diversity isn't our strength. But I mean, when other people say, you're a white supremacist and anti-black and anti-non-white, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, this is absolutely crazy. I can't find, and maybe I can find an article about her, but I can't find too much online about like the victim. Like what happened to this white woman, man?
They did a lot of scrubbing because I think this guy has a rap sheet, and I think some scrubbing has been done to try to conceal that.
Here we go. Felicia Gale was an American journalist who was murdered. Hold on, let me get her up on the Summer Jam screen while we go over this, man.
Felicia.
Yeah, let me get her up here.
There are stats on how biased juries are and sentencing, and it doesn't. From what I've heard, there really isn't any real racial bias statistically from like white people
It's
sentencing.
all priors. It's all priors. Any disparities in sentencing has to do with priors. Because some man come in with a fucking you know the stories we do. Some man should have been under the jail 15 years ago, and he comes in, and then it's like, well, of course, what I'm saying, like, you got 18 felonies, and now you got a 19th one, and your sentence will be harder than somebody who just did it. It's a white guy who just did it for the first time, who killed his wife during an argument and shit. Like, salute. Okay, so here we go. Felicia Gale, man. Felicia Gale, that's that white woman right there, man. She was an American journalist who was murdered during a burglary in her gated community in University City, Missouri on August 11, 1998. Gale, a 42-year-old reporter, so she would be 68 now. Wow. Reporter for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch was found dead in her home, having been stabbed up to 43 times with a butcher knife taken from her kitchen. A man named Marcellus Williams was charged with the murder based on the testimonies of two witnesses claiming that Williams had confessed to the crime. Williams was sentenced to death in August 2001, right before 9/11. During his stay on death row, it was noted that the DNA found at the crime scene did not match that of Williams, leading to calls for his execution to be stopped. Additionally, Gale's family had repeatedly stated that they did not want Williams to be executed. He was executed September 24th, 2024. Felicia Gale was born and raised in Rockford, Illinois. She graduated from the University of Illinois with a degree in journalism and made her way in that career. By 1981, she was working as a reporter for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, where she stayed until 1992. She left the newspaper to pursue more philanthropy and volunteer work. In 1998, Gale lived with her husband, Daniel Pekas, in a home in University City, a suburb of St. Louis, Missouri. They had known each other since childhood in Rockford. He is a radiologist at Barnes Jewish Hospital. Burglary and murder. Gale was stabbed to death during a daytime burglary at her home on August 11, 1998. An assailant contended to be Williams by the state of Missouri. No, not by the state of Missouri, by his girlfriend and a dude he confessed to in prison. Broke into the house and stabbed Gale 16 to 43 times. Sources vary, with a butcher's knife. 7 of the wounds were fatal. Gale's purse, her jacket, and her husband's laptop were found to be missing, along with some minor items. Gale was 42 years old at the time of her murder. Investigation and trial. The crime scene left an abundance of forensic evidence for profiling the otherwise unknown murderer, such as fingerprints, footprints, hair, and DNA traced under the murder weapon. So now that they're saying that there was another DNA on the handle or on the knife, right? There was other DNA on the knife. But you notice that they're not disputing the fingerprints, the footprints in the hair? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, like they're still not coming out and saying this man is innocent, get him out of jail immediately. We've yet to hear that.
No, they're saying we'll do a life sentence, but just don't kill him.
Yeah, basically. And November's around the corner, so we gotta do some electioneering right now.
Exactly. In response, okay, so it says, in May 1999, Gale's family announced a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction in the case. In response, 2 individuals, Henry Cole and Lara Asaro, named Marcellus Scott Williams. So 2 different people, one who was in prison and another one who was his girlfriend. 2 different people, probably didn't know each other. It's probably safe to say they didn't know each other. Both, once the reward was announced, both these 2 different people A woman who's on the street and the dude who's in this prison who's locked up with this guy while he was locked up for something else. Both of them came forward and said he did it. What are the odds of that? Somebody here do odds. Anybody here know how to do probabilities and shit? What are the odds of that?
And he's 6'7".
Yeah, like I mean, wow.
And he had her belongings. He had her shit in like his fucking girlfriend's car or some shit. Like, come on.
Yeah, like, and then that even, whatever the odds were for the other thing, that even, what are the odds for that?
Exactly. Then multiply them all together. It's like, come on, man.
You gotta make me want to go outside and check my car, man. Make sure I ain't got no damn stuff in my car. Let me go check my car, man. Wow. Williams had an extensive criminal record. Cole volunteered that. Okay, that's the guy. Cole is the guy from prison who snitched on him. He volunteered that Marcellus Williams had made a jailhouse confession to him when both were in jail on charges unrelated to the murder. Cole had already been released before volunteering his information. Williams had started serving a 20-year sentence for robbing a donut shop.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So he was in prison for robbing a donut shop.
He was there for like he was going to do a long ass stretch. I thought it was longer than 20 years, but okay, I guess you're right then. But like this isn't just some like innocent fucking son, man. Like this is like a career criminal.
Yeah, man. He got a dub. He got a dub ski for robbing a donut shop. What did he do in that robbery? They ain't giving no son man no dub for just for that.
Like a 20-year robbery stint from a donut shop means he was armed for sure. There's no way he was not armed doing that. So like this guy, like we don't need this guy to be alive is like what I'm trying to say here. Like, why does he have to be here? Like, no, just we don't need him like that.
That's a lot of Boston cream donuts. I'll say that.
That's for sure.
I'm telling you, man. So he was already in the slammer.
Yes. Converting to Islam with his fucking imam co-defendant who confessed that he heard this fellow killed this lady. Like, I mean, why doesn't the devout Muslim imam like work in our favor here? Like, he's a devout Muslim. He's telling the truth. This fucking guy confessed that he killed this glider queen. Like, come on.
Wow. Okay, so wow. So Williams had an extensive criminal record. Cole volunteered that Williams had made a jailhouse confession to him when both were in jail on charges unrelated to the murder. Cole had already been released before volunteering his information. Williams had started serving a 20-year sentence for robbing a donut shop. Laura Asaro, the girlfriend of Williams at the time of the crime, gave testimony that Williams had confessed to her and detailed what had happened. This is after she discovered evidence from the crime scene in Williams' car. Oh, so she found a woman's purse and items in the car. And he's like, no, baby, I ain't cheating on you. I just killed somebody in a robbery. And she's like, oh, okay. Whew, I thought you cheated on me.
This man like stabbed this lady and took all her shit and dumped it in his girl's car. Like, come on, this is a fucking like a slam dunk case.
Yo, he probably dumped this shit in his girl car after he told her what really happened. She probably was like, God damn, babe. Then he probably dropped some Harambe dick off on her right in the back seat.
I won't do it again. That's probably what he said. Baby, I'll never break into a white woman's home and kill her again. Are we promised? Yeah. All right, give me some sugar.
And so these two testified in court, right? So they were able to be cross-examined.
Well, no, I don't know if they testified. So far, all we know is that it said they gave testimony. Okay, yeah, it may have been a police. They may have given testimony to a police, but it just says that they gave testimony.
I think they must have
they had to have testified. I'm sure they did.
Okay,
for the
so hold on, let me go.
$10,000, right?
Yeah, probably so. But let me see. It says Lara Asaro, the girlfriend of Williams at the time of the crime, gave testimony that Williams had confessed to her and detailed what had happened. This is after she discovered evidence from the crime scene in Williams' car. Unlike Cole, who's the jailhouse informant, deposition, which was compatible with news reports, Lara is said to have provided details that had not been mentioned in the public accounts of the crime, which is a point contested by the innocent party. So she knew stuff that wasn't in the paper. So, like, a witness testified that Williams had sold the victim's laptop to him. Now we have a third witness. We have a third person.
Holy shit.
Just a fucking criminal son, man, doing what he does.
Yeah, like your typical low IQ savage who doesn't even know how to cover up his own fucking cold-blooded murder. Bro,
Like you know when like the Indians would like kill the bison, they'd use all parts of the animal. This guy did the same thing with this lady.
Yeah.
Bro, the reason why 48% of some crimes, some murders don't go unsolved isn't because these niggas are smart. I keep saying it.
Yeah. Salute to just some dude. He says, where was Dyson at the time? Yeah, right. Where was his brother at the time? Let's see, man. Wow. A witness testified that Williams had sold the victim's laptop to him.
Like, that's just insane. That's asking to be caught.
That happened to me when I was living on 8th and H. That happened to me. I had I was a writer then. I had been writing, doing a lot of I was working on a lot of stories, short stories and stuff like that. I wanted to be a writer. That was a phase where I wanted to be a writer. So I had a laptop, an old bullshit laptop, right? This was when I was living in a boarding house, right? And boarding houses, you have a lot of transient people coming in and out. It's not the most upstanding citizens, man. But this one lady moved in and she ended up being a crackhead, right? And one day, I came to my room and my shit was kicked in and my laptop was gone. And I thought it was because I sold weed, you know what I'm saying, blah, 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 like that. And I was like blaming other dudes in the rooming house. I was about to kill one dude because remember, in those days, like everything was on a disc, right? So it wasn't like no cloud. There was no cloud back then.
Yeah, you lost all your shit in that laptop.
Yeah, all my shit was in that thing, and the disc was in the computer. And I'm talking about like stuff you work on, you edit it, da 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 da. I had an editor, blah blah blah. That she was helping me out doing the shit pro bono, and sending it back to me, and I was making the corrections and that third. And it was like years, just on and off working on this thing, right? And that shit was gone. And I just was blaming all the dudes that I was cool with in the boarding house. I was about to kill one dude. I was literally this close to murdering that guy. And he didn't do it. But anyway, I thought he did it at the time. And I had to be talked down. I was talked down. I was that close. People were talking me down to doing it. Anyway, I kind of like, came to grips with it being gone, moved on with my life. And then like, a week later, there's a knock on the door, right? At a boarding house. And it's just the odds I'm the one that answers the door because it's a big house and shit. And it was a white guy there, and he said, "Is there? Agatunde, Michael Coyote, and I was like, oh my God, he gave you my government. I was like, is this the cops? And he was like, I was like, yeah. And then he started asking me questions, right, about like my work history. Did you work here? Da 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 da. I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, well, I was in the park downtown in Gallery Place the other day, and I was sitting there, and some woman came along and sold me a laptop for $20. And I went home, and then I started, I was trying to clean it, and I was looking through it, and I started seeing your stories, and I started reading it, and I said, "Man, this is phenomenal, bro." I was like, "Wow, this is great." So then, and he said, well, he kept looking through the files, and he saw my resume, and my resume had my address on it. And he said, "You know what?" He said, "I didn't want you to lose your computer, so I looked at the address on the resume, and here I am." And I was like, oh my God. I couldn't believe it. I was like, thank you. I was like, so where's the laptop? He's like, oh, I didn't bring it with me because I didn't know if you would be, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to bring it and you know what I'm saying, you not be the person, and then you know what I'm saying, you like, you know how it be, like you could I just be like, yeah, it's mine, you know what I'm saying? But so I ended up picking it up from him later on. But and I had and I mean, it was a miracle. It was like a miracle. It was like almost like from the depths of despair. Like I was like years of working on this thing gone down the drain. And my mother and my stepfather always telling me, make sure you save it on multiple discs. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I got that rattling through my brain and shit. And I'm just like, oh my God, to this white dude at my door telling me he got the laptop.
But you had an advantage that this glider queen didn't have. And the advantage was you weren't stabbed 43 times by a sun man. you are alive to receive it in the end.
She was like a random person, right? You didn't know her.
No, this woman right here, he broke. She lived in a gated community, and he broke into her house, man. So let me move along, man. During the trial, the judge had refused to allow testing of some of the DNA evidence found at the scene. That probably is because it was her fucking house, and everything's gonna have like her or her husband's DNA on it. It's not like a public place. It's not like an alley or some shit. Like it's her fucking house. So yeah, like all the defense is gonna do, test that pillowcase in her bedroom. See, look, there's DNA on that, so he didn't do it. Like, nah, motherfucker, you're not playing that game. This is her house. Of course, his DNA is not on everything. So during the trial, the judge had refused to allow testing of some of the DNA evidence found at the scene. Williams was convicted of Gale's murder in 2001 by the jury after testimony from 22 witnesses. Wow. So there were 22 witnesses that testified.
Like of people in the neighborhood that saw this man, or doesn't say?
No, it just says witnesses. That's an extensive trial. I've been on trial before. If you like, most you don't have anybody testify. You don't even testify. Like most trials, it's just the cop will testify. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
So this is a big thing then. Like they went through this. They went through this without like a fine-tooth comb. Like,
yeah. Wow. 22 witnesses testified. I mean, he's 6'6". So it's like, I saw some big 6'6" motherfucker over here. I didn't see what happened, but there was some 6'2" guy milling around here, black guy milling around here earlier. You know,
in a gated glider community.
Yeah, this was a very thoroughly conducted, systematic glider trial. I'm very confident in the decision they made.
Yeah. Yeah, me too, man. Williams was already serving a 50-year sentence for an unrelated robbery. Okay, so
yeah, dude. He was like a monster. Like he was already in there. There was no reason to like do anything. He was gonna spend his whole life there.
Wow. Think about if you're the governor. Like this guy, so this is 1998. No, this is 2001. So he's gonna serve 50 years. He'd probably got off 2051. But you're the governor now, it's 2024, and you're branded a racist, and you're probably gonna lose your re-election because he ended up getting killed during your term.
Yeah, because he ended up getting killed, a month before the election. That's your cross to bear.
Wow. And you can't mention that. Like if you dare as the white governor say, hey, he was already doing 50 years for another robbery. Oh my God. You're racist for that. Wow. We got y'all by the goddamn kahunas, man. So yeah, everything else after this we already know.
And let's say there was some other like unknown mystery sun man who was also 6'7", but was the true murderer. All that would show is that like black people snitch on each other for $10,000 and are willing to throw them under the jail. Like there's no evil white man involved here that is like pulling the strings. That's just not what's happening.
The only white people here are the people who set up the system that allows him 15 appeals.
Exactly.
And the white people that are outside of the prison, outside of the jailhouse, protesting for his a stay for his execution. And yet, the crux of this story is that he's being somehow racially railroaded by white people.
Okay,
and the white people on the jury. Go ahead.
I'm reading one little thing here. This is from Reddit though, but apparently the prosecutor at the time made like a statement that he struck one of the black jurors because he thought they looked like they were brothers. And then he added to that, like, familial brothers. I don't mean black people. So that's, yeah. But like, did he stab her 43 times or not? Oh, right. Yeah.
Said this big 6'7" sun man. Hey, some black guy stole me the laptop. Oh, what did he look like? He was 6'7".
That's like the most damning. Out of all of this, the fucking laptop is what does it the most.
Yeah, man.
Like, why aren't these motherfuckers like bitching and moaning about DNA testing that laptop? It would have his DNA fucking fingerprints on it for sure, and hers.
Yeah, where's the laptop, man?
Yeah, where's that laptop at?
Wow. And yeah, think about how much money, 15 appeals, 15 times going to court, plus the initial trial, 16, plus feeding his ass and clothing his ass and housing his ass. Well, think about how much money this one sun man in St. Louis has cost.
Yeah, he's drained us like a fucking toilet, man. Like, he's fucked us up. He fucked us up for sure.
Wow. And then killing him finally after 25 years literally could swing the election.
And this is like a heinous crime. Like, look how hard the glider system has to go for a fucking heinous act. Like, this wasn't just like some, like, you know, we tried to rob her and there was a struggle and things got out of hand and like he dropped his gun and it went off. Like, no, he stabbed her 43 times and he's 6'7".
Yeah.
In her house, in her own fucking house.
He ran in her house and did it.
Yeah, he's basically George Floyd, except we were hearing that story about like he went in and robbed a pregnant lady. Like, he's basically that, except he actually terminated her.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to feel sorry for this Harambe.
And at the time, so he was free when he did this, obviously. But at the time when they finally put out a reward for the case, he was in prison serving 50 years for another one.
Right. And sorry, the murder was 98, but the conviction was 2001, right? So 3 years had gone by, and he had already been in prison rotting away for those 3 years because he's such a fucking Harambe, and he already had a rap sheet. So it's like, man, it's almost like they should have done nothing. Just leave him in there with the original sentence. Don't waste more time and money. He's already there. Like, fuck, it's just ridiculous.
There's too many of these niggas, man. Like, he's just one of so fucking many of these niggas. Just crash dummies. Just doing all types of heinous shit. Running around doing the most like evil, devious shit to just random people.
Yeah, I mean, like, just think about it. Like, the husband comes home and sees that her you know what I'm saying, her husband, when he came home, like, you walk into that, and then you want answers and shit. And then they finally, years later, they like, yeah, we got the guy who did it, and it's this guy. And then he's sentenced to death. And then okay, great. And then 1 year goes by, 2 years go, a decade goes. Then it's 2024, and by that time, it's like a fucking big. Everybody who's got a voice about the case is talking about how great of a guy this guy is and how he doesn't deserve and how he's getting railroaded and how he's the big victim. And no one's mentioning this woman.
Yep.
We're the only channel, think about it. We're the only channel other than a few that were like before where the videos were made in the past. We're the only channel talking about this currently, right now, that is probably mentioning this woman as of like in the last week or so.
I still don't know like how we're going beyond the fact that some dude bought this woman's laptop off this 6'7" fucking Harambe. Like, that's an open and shut case right there.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the description. Even if you couldn't describe whether the color of his eyes, you know what I'm saying, or his male pattern baldness. How tall was? Oh, he was like 6'7". It was too much of a coincidence, man.
He looked like a lot of niggas in Philly too, man.
Oh yeah. Definitely, without a doubt. Kind of rough beard, yeah, the rough beard, like the beard, just the Philly beards just be, they don't be like real kempt, they be like rag. It's like y'all clippers in Philly, I got like different clippers down there, man.
And his boy had already left prison, right? And then snitched. He was already out.
I was already out. Yeah, he didn't need to snitch to save himself.
Jeez, we're fucking cooked, man. Like, this is a sign. This is like our country in a your country in a nutshell, basically.
and his girlfriend didn't need to get him back because he was already doing 50 years. So
yeah, exactly.
So if she wanted to like be malicious, she didn't have to do this to get like, I'm gonna tell the cops that you did this. No, he's already doing 50 years. So she got really nothing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like those gliders from yesterday with the guy that killed like 10 motherfuckers. Like that's not, to me, it didn't feel like a win, man. It just didn't feel like,
yeah, life sentence. Yeah, he got a life
yeah,
sentence.
you got a life sentence. I can't say if that was me, because of course we could all say that, but I don't know. It just, on the outside in, I wouldn't feel like justice truly was served.
Hi, so I'm going in to meet with Marcellus. If the conviction is not overturned, this will be my last meeting with Marcellus. I'm obviously hoping that it is being overturned. What I have to say is, as I pulled in here today, there are armed guards everywhere. There are machine guns. It's crazy because they are preparing for an execution and of an innocent man, no less. So
she got a Joy Reid tooth in her mouth.
Governor Breeden.
That goddamn Joy Reid tooth. That little. Look at that. You see that tooth?
Snaggle tooth.
For the world.
On the bottom. She's going in to meet him. Think about it. That guy, even on death row, he probably turned down some head from her. Like, where's that tooth?
It would be murder.
That snaggle tooth. Your foreskin get caught on that snaggle tooth.
For you to really make the right decision.
Yeah, that one right there. It is right there. That goddamn Joy Reid tooth. Yeah, nah. She probably like, well, Marcellus, this is it. I'll do this. He's like, you know, baby, I've been here so long, man, and you know my religion speaks against that. My religion says, you know, I got virgins waiting for me in heaven, and I don't want to, you know, do nothing. I don't want to cheat on them. I don't want to cheat on them before we get to heaven. She's like, no, it's no problem. I mean, I'll do it. Like, nah, you good, thank you, but you good, baby. You good. I'm cool, baby. Just talk to the governor for me.
But this year's those, like, this is the type of glider chick I'd expect that like these Sun men in prison on death row have like an army of these chicks, like an army of them that just got their back. It's just crazy.
Wait, she back in his play? Like this? Yeah. She's a supporter?
Yeah, she's going to see him. This is her saying she's about to go see him in jail.
I know you guys can't reach the governor. However, we have the governor's press secretary's phone number. So I'm going to list it in my under this post right now. Tweet him, email him, the governor's press secretary. Sorry, I'm tired. And they take my phone away in prison, so I can't post until I'm out. So pray for us, guys. We got success. Okay, guys, so I'm going in to meet with Marcellus. If the conviction is not overturned, this will be my last meeting with Marcellus.
Yeah, man, these white women. White women are, now all women are crazy, right? So I'm not going to sit here and act like, you know what I'm saying, like all women are nuts. But white women, y'all are special kind of nuts, man.
Dang.
Yeah, they say they would have condos on the moon if it wasn't for sons. I think if it wasn't for black,
this pocket size.
They the ones keeping you from having condos on the moon, man. Don't blame that shit on us.
The fact that sons could say we in like a global system of white supremacy and all these white people colluding against niggas with so much fucking evidence to the contrary that you don't even have to dig and look for. It just shows you, man, these niggas are fucking retarded. And they super biased, bro. They just hate white people.
they're evil though. Like a lot of that is evilness. It's a word for it. Sinister. It's sinister. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's a level of sinisterism to portraying modern white people like that. And when the system is like, yo, like you literally like have a computer in your pocket. Like white people, if they were really, really, like you said, they wouldn't let you partake of any of this shit. They wouldn't let like remember we did a story about the Aztecs?
Yeah.
And the Aztec, the ruling class of the Aztecs, they didn't let the commoners eat sugar, enjoy any of the accoutrements. You know what I'm saying? The fine accoutrement, smoke cocoa leaves. They didn't let them do anything. That was only for the ruling class. It didn't matter how much money you had. There was no, you're not part of the ruling class. You can't eat sugar. You can't taste good, sweet things. You can't partake of enjoyable stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they didn't have shit. They didn't have shit like we got. We got TV and telephones and shit, planes and cars. And gliders let you partake of all of that shit.
Yeah, there's something to be said. Like, you just can't take sons or like fucking take Australian Aboriginals or whatever, and then, you know, give them some money and then just be like, oh, okay, you have money now. Now act just like we do. It doesn't work that way. Like when people live in different environments for as long as they do for thousands of years, like they evolve differently. So like that's just ultimately what this is at the end of the day.
Right. And you can't take like earlier in the story where the drug dealer, the Sunman drug dealer, killed those two informants, and he would have gotten away with it if some gliders didn't go, some volunteer gliders didn't just go volunteer to clean the river. Like, right. Yeah. Just volunteered. Like they weren't paid. They weren't part of no group. They volunteered to go clean.
They're
the river.
Just being gliders.
And they found two. And this guy gets fucking. He gets a knock on his door, like, and it's like, yeah, he probably was just as floored as I was when that fucking like that gave my laptop. He was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, man.
Like,
that glider system is crazy, man. It's like an eye in the sky.
Yeah, man. It's like, yeah, they're different. Y'all can't function in our societies either. Y'all always change our societies. Y'all always
that would drive gliders crazy.
Yeah, like Rhodesia, South Africa. Y'all didn't leave that the way y'all found it.
No, that'd be hell.
You guys came through and changed it completely.
Like that's why in those places in Southern Africa, that's why there was apartheid. Because these gliders were there and they're like, oh shit, we're not the same. We need to like set shit up so that it doesn't implode. Like there was a reason those things were in place. Now I know it's like kind of ugly talk, but like it was not entirely irrational.
Yeah, I completely understand why, man.
And if you talk to sons, these niggas would be like, man, they ain't need all that shit. It's like, what? Yeah, man, you know, they was living good, you know? They was just living off the land. They ain't need like medicine and farming and electricity. They ain't need none of that. Like, bro, just you can't talk to niggas about shit, dog. It's really just cult and delusion and lies and narrative and context bending. It's just you can't talk to niggas, dog.
Or they'll do like the other way around. they'll tell you like they built Egypt and America and they were the original Shakespeare. Like it's either one or the other. It's like one delusion on one end of the spectrum or another equally retarded one on the other end of the spectrum. Like there's like they're just not honest, basically.
Yeah, you know, Africans.
Actually, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so and Osa said this. I gotta give him credit for that. It doesn't matter. Facts don't matter to sons. Like they don't. It doesn't matter if what's right, what the fact is, what actually it is, whether it was 0.65 or 0.7 or 1 point. It don't. None of that matters.
Yeah. It almost seems like having honor, like in a homogenous, like indigenous African society, like just having honor just makes you a lick. Like it's just going to get you killed.
There would be no word for honor, I bet, in a lot of those languages.
Yeah.
Man, that shit always blows my mind. My man, I always arguing with my mans about this shit. Nigga really had the nerve to tell me these niggas in Africa was just fine.
They were, though.
They were, yeah, they were. But, you know, I think, well, we mean different things when we say that here, though, right? Like, we mean different things.
Yeah. No, but I really, they were fine. Trust me, they were fine. They've been there for eons. Them black folk been there for eons, and they if you go to a like a homogenous black neighborhood in America, and you see like within America how they degraded and how the level where they live at, as opposed to what's available and what's standard in that society.
Yeah, right outside of the community.
Yeah, they take it down to their level.
Yeah. And that's when they feel the most comfortable.
Exactly. And those are the neighborhoods they brag about being from.
Yep.
Like Jay-Z is as rich as Jay-Z is, his pride, his claim, the proudest thing he is being from Marcy Projects.
No, for real. And LeBron, man, I'm just a kid from Akron, dog. With no dad. Like these niggas be proud of like living and coming from the most fucked up circumstances.
Yeah, definitely, man. We're all like that. I was like that, man. I used to you know what I'm saying, like accentuate the hardship and ignore the good things that I had and the privileges that I had. All Southern men that I know did that. I'm from DC, man, where there's probably 1,000 niggas doing life sentences whose mothers had good government jobs just because they lived in the nation's capital and this bunch of good government is the industry. You know what I'm saying? The industry for the District of Columbia is government. It's 1,000 niggas in prison whose mothers had good government jobs doing life sentences.
Well, Ak, tell me this. Tell me your opinion here. Like, when I hear someone like LeBron James say what you just said, like, I'm just a kid from, Akron, whatever. Like, I hear two things there. The first one I hear is, fuck white people. This is a white supremacist society. That's the first, thing he's saying in that statement. But, the second thing that I hear or I kind of imagine is, he's kind of saying, fuck you to, all the Sun people that, the rest of the crabs, they're still in the bucket. Is that basically what he's saying, or what is he saying?
No, he's saying I'm authentically black.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's his thing.
I'm authentic. I'm a real black person. I ain't shit.
Because sons, you'll never hear a son be like, I'm just a kid from Calabasas. Sons gonna have pride in being from upper class and being from elite, having an elite stock. They don't have pride in that. Remember the hockey we were talking about, those, I think it was PG County, one of those fucking majority Harambe counties. Yeah, those kids over there, Sun people, they want inherently they want to degrade things. Intrinsically.
You think so? I don't agree with
do
that.
PG County tomorrow. We'll do PG County tomorrow, man. Same black time.
Oh, go ahead.
Same black channel. Out of here. Peace out.
Peace.
All right, Luke.